Yeah.
Of course, it will be the last. You know, looking at
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Smoke kind. I still gotta ask him again, like, what? But yeah, it's getting a little better. Yeah, Ramona. Unplug it in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I lost this my own way. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is it charging?
Yeah.
What's my name? Hey. What's my name?
Okay.
What's my name? My name. Oh.
Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. You good?
Yeah.
Come back, okay?
Thank you.
It's Angie's. You want yours? I can grab yours. You want yours? Yeah, you are done. You want yours? Okay, I'll grab yours. I'll give this to Angie and grab yours, okay? Yeah, watch it. Stay near him, okay?
Hi, Pat. This is Anthony. Can you test your mic, please?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Good.
I
Pat, Ramona said hi.
I know. I just got my pictures on. I'm glad you're with us today. And I hope you'll be with us every other time from now on.
yeah.
Good. Does anybody know whether Cheryl can join us? Because if she can't join us, we don't have a quorum, we can't continue, correct?
Oh, no, Gashel here. I think we have a quorum because we have three.
Okay.
Yeah, we have three, right? Yeah.
So-
I think we need three for a quorum, yeah?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think with it, we're good.
We got about what, 30 seconds to go before 1:30?
That's his work friends. That's her one of his work friends.
Oh, that's your dad.
Alicia, shh. Ramona's in a meeting. You have to be quiet, okay? You can chill with us, okay? But you just gotta.
Hey, I think we'll get started, and maybe everybody could mute their microphones until they want to talk. That would be good, so we don't have background noise. This meeting of the Statewide Elections Accessibility Needs Advisory Committee is called to order. It's 1:30 p.m. on May 7th, 2024. The meeting is being conducted by video conference and telephone. Committee members, please keep your cameras on for the duration of the meeting. I will now take the roll call. Ramona, Anand, glad you're here. I know that Katie Kime is not with us today. Cheryl Nelson? Okay, Cheryl's not with us. Jim Gashel?
Yeah, Gashel's here.
Okay, and I'm here, obviously. Pursuant to HRS 92-3.5, you are required to disclose if anyone is present with you for this meeting. Committee members, is anyone present with you for this meeting?
Nico,
Anon?
Nico,
Okay. Jim?
Gashel, no, nobody but me.
Okay, and I'm alone as well.
okay,
Additionally, pursuant to HRS 92-3.7, we'll be meeting remotely using interactive conference technology. As a reminder to the public, your microphone will be muted until you're called upon. Public testimony. As it relates to public testimony, it will be taken after each agenda item. If you'd like to testify, click raise hand under reactions on your Zoom. If you're joining us by phone, press *9. When recognized, unmute your microphone and for the record, state your first and last name and the items you'll be testifying on. To ensure that we'll have sufficient time to hear all testimony, each testifier will have 3 minutes to testify. Once your time has expired, you'll be asked to conclude your remarks. As technical issues may arise, we will give each testifier a few moments to try and resolve any connection issues. However, if the issues cannot be resolved, we'll have to move on to the next testifier. Now we'll go to the agenda. After each agenda item, ask if there are any, I will ask if there are any comments and instruct people to raise their hands. Okay, to save some time here, I want to leap to item number 5, which is called the update on HB 1976. That item, because we did not give sufficient detail on it in the agenda, a complaint was filed with the Office of Election, and therefore we can only talk about it next meeting. The bottom line is, just to save us time and energy, the item had to do with funding for this committee, which is not passed by the state legislature. So it's not anything earth-shattering. Okay. Next item on the agenda, approval of April 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes. So,
Yeah, Gashel moves, we approve the minutes.
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay, you second it, Anon, great,
yeah,
okay. Any objection? Okay, so that's dispensed with. Okay, review and discussion regarding the Department of Justice updated voting guidance. I've got to be honest with you, I have not read it yet. So I would like to postpone that item until our next meeting unless, Jim, have you read it by any chance?
Well, I have, and if you wanted a cogent presentation on it, I'm not sure I'm prepared for that. I would, frankly, I don't think there's anything new in there, but I do embrace the idea of we should have a detailed presentation on this at our next meeting. And I'll be
Okay,
glad to take that on and
Okay.
summarize their guidance. They
Great.
have a lot of good info on there.
That's fantastic. Great. I appreciate you taking that on. Okay, the next item on our agenda is review and discussion about, I'm not asking for questions or comments at this point because we haven't really gotten anything to talk about yet. So, okay. The next time is review and discussion about a resource to share information on how voting centers can assist voters with accessibility needs.
Yeah,
Did you send this out, Anthony, with the agenda, the draft of the
yes,
tips?
yes, yeah,
Anthony?
That was sent out to the members.
Okay,
yeah.
so why don't we just open it up for Jim? And I want to ask
Yeah,
you, Anando, if you have any comments. So Anando, do you have any suggestions that you would like to add about
Yeah.
the tips to
No,
voter
no,
center?
no,
No, okay.
so, Gashel?
Yes,
All right. No, I think it's a very good document and I realize it's a first draft, but it's a awfully good first draft. I only have a couple of suggestions. I, I, I know that in this draft at several points, it does mention ask first. Oh, I'm thinking that ought to be right up front. In terms of just a little light editing to make that point up front. That that's really the number one rule is ask. Don't offer or don't assume. And I think both of those points are made, but they're made at various other points in the document. I'd like to see them get a little bit more emphasis. Then the other thing I guess I would mention is first of all, people with accessibility needs, which I guess is the term we need to use in this, are normally people with disabilities, and there's a lot of disabilities, and even within a particular disability, there's a lot of differences in the extent to which someone may need any sort of assistance or want any sort of assistance. Oftentimes people don't need or want any assistance at all. And this should be said straightforwardly. And even if one blind person, for example, wants some assistance, that doesn't mean the next one does. Especially
Yeah.
if you run into me. So don't treat me like you treated the last guy. Because I'll give you a hard way to go. So basically, I guess the point is treat everyone as an individual. Don't make general assumptions or conclusions
I
based
agree.
on what somebody else told you. And I think if those points are emphasized in addition to what you've got. Oh, one more thought. I think I learned that at least for city and county of Honolulu, all the voter service center workers are employees, not volunteers. I think that's a true statement. Now, I'm not certain about the other counties at all. And we may have a mix of employees and volunteers, but I get the idea that since now we don't have polling places, but we have a fewer number of locations, many fewer. So it's voter service centers that most of the people who staff these are workers and that are hired by the county or the city and county, yeah, in our case. And I don't know, maybe somebody else knows. We should check that though, because we're not going to be expecting to train a whole lot of volunteers. It may be election offices
Yeah.
employees or others.
I hope, I
I
hope, I hope they get paid very well. I hope they get paid very well.
I can get the you hope what?
I hope I hope they are very good. I hope they are very good.
I know, I do too, so. But, all right, I think your suggestions are really good, Jim. And I will, make revisions to the tips, so that your ideas are incorporated. Anthony, once we finalize this thing, can your office disperse it widely to, like all the voter service centers or all the clerks? So we get copies electronically and in hard copy to all the right places?
So first of all, there is a hand raised and then I can come back. But Donald Sakamoto has his hand raised.
Okay, but can't you answer my question? I was gonna open it up to other questions, but I'd like an answer to my question. Oh, God.
We are able to forward it to the counties and share it with them.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, Donald? Donald? I think your mute button must be on.
Donald,
Can you hear me now?
Yes?
Okay, thank you I was waiting for unmute. Thank you, Chair. But the points that you have in the packet, for those who haven't gotten the packet, can you list what the packet points are for those yeah, online?
Okay, Anthony, I don't have my electronic files with me right here. I have my phone, my iPad, but not a copy of that document as it's on my. Can you open it up and read it?
You can.
give me a minute.
Oh, Chair, while he's doing that, I just wanted to update that our county, Honolulu, and the Big Island attended their meeting outside Island for the committee. And they have strictly employees, no volunteers at the polling centers. So I'm quite sure the rest of the counties have, but that's what I heard from the two meetings I attended.
So I'll take the reference to volunteers out of the tips draft. Yeah.
Or use a more generic term like
Substitute workers.
workers at voter service centers, something like that. So
Yeah.
we don't really need to know whether they're employees or volunteers. They are workers at voter service centers.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
I agree with that.
Are there any other questions while
I agree with that.
looking for that document?
I just want to thank Mr. James Gasher for coming to the Honolulu committee for our elections accessibility needs advisory committee meeting on the last month on the 26th April. Did a great job and very informative, and we appreciate his attendance and giving us a presentation for what you folks do at the statewide.
I'm sorry that I couldn't make it, but sure that Jim did a stellar job.
I'll get the recording for you, Chair.
I did my best to stand in for you.
Oh yeah, right. I don't think you have to stand there. And You're an icon of your of great value, independent of anybody else. Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We're gonna wait. Check that.
Did you find it?
We're trying to locate it and to have it screen shared, but hold on.
¿Lo voy a contar que algún lado? ¿Yes?
No,
Okay, ¿quieres que por favor?
no.
Yeah, Chair, for those who can see it on the screen share, it's fantastic, but if it's able to somebody read it out for the visually impaired blind.
Or we can send you a copy.
Well, I
Yeah.
think as long as we're, do you have somebody there, Anthony, like Dominic or somebody that can actually, or Nedeline that can
Netherlands.
read through it real quick?
Okay. Hold
It's
on.
not a long document,
Okay.
and I do agree that it is something we should go through.
I'll give you a context while they're looking for it. I wanted to keep this to 2 pages and to put it in a total of 6 columns so it could be folded into a pamphlet. So I didn't include every possible suggestion that could be made, but ones that I thought were the most likely to be of use. So that's another thing we have to keep in mind. If we're going to add any more to it, we want to make sure that we don't add something that's going to make it more than 2-sided, 3 columns on each side. And the reason why I did it was because, number one, I thought it was a good idea, and we talked about it at the last meeting, but also I wasn't sure whether we could arrange to do any kind of accessibility training for election voters, service center workers. But so I think this is a good first step. And if we can get it out to them quickly, then if they want training, they can let us know and we can arrange something.
Chair Sakamoto again. I brought that up at our Honolulu County meeting with the clerks, and they said they're going to do that. But it'd be great if you have this information for them so they can access.
Yeah, I want to get it out to them quickly. So, and I think if we get it out, within the next month, then that'll be a step in the right direction and might influence them to ask us to do more or have a conversation with us. Even it wouldn't have to be formal training, but so much of what is on that 2-pager is basic common sense and general courtesy.
One thought, I don't know whether we want to get into this or not, but 2 or 3 of us maybe having different disabilities could get together and do say a 10-minute or 15-minute, I'm thinking a YouTube video that could be made available to the workers. Not suggesting that we need to substitute for the pamphlet. I think the pamphlet's a great idea, but if we wanted to at some point, this is another form of media to consider.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not even opposed to the idea of more general distribution of this pamphlet, because people end up helping relatives with disabilities. Why not put it in grocery stores and give it to the women's league voters? No,
exactly.
I'm not kidding. I mean, it's that basic and that useful.
Oh yeah, while we're talking about things in there, I just thought of this. I guess the other point about asking first is it doesn't say it specifically at the point where it's if you have a long line. Well, some people, for example, probably me. The older I get, the more I'd like to go to the front of the line, tell you the truth. But the younger I was, I'd say, no, get your hands off me. I'll stand in line with the rest of them. Because who knows, I'd probably chat somebody up a little bit and enjoy just standing in line. And I've done that many, 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 many times. Now, I don't have a condition that warrants having to sit down or et cetera, et cetera. There's no need for me to go to the front of the line right away. And so again, the ask rule is the one. And if I say no, then then leave me alone. Let me stand in line all day long, That's what I insist on doing. If I'm so stupid that I insist on doing that. The older I get, the more I like to go to the front of the line, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's great to go to the front of the line.
Well, I don't blame you. And I'm all for it. I'm not saying standing in at the end of a 2-hour line is a virtue, but I'm just saying I want to be asked rather than sometimes, Madam Chair, sometimes you get taken by the hand before you even know what the hell's happening to you. And just led up front.
Maybe they just like you, Jim, and they want to hold your hand.
Well, I don't know that it's that. They just assume, and you cover this, but I don't, but I already said the point about that.
In my case, my scooter, so I don't need to go to the front line either, But if somebody wants to let me go to the front line, save me time.
Yeah, Chair Sakamoto again. Our meeting, Rick Scordilla, he's the clerk for our Honolulu elections, and he said, stress that vote early. When you vote early before the long lines, you should be able to have no problem. But voting on the last day,
Yeah,
it could be hectic. Some people do that,
Oh, I know. Well, I want to know how many people are going to end up with disabilities are going to end up going to, service centers. It'll be interesting if we could get that data.
I know at home.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. You vote by mail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cousin,
Yeah.
my cousin.
Okay. Now it's on the screen. It's not
Okay.
real big, but it's on the screen. Can you make it a little bigger? Okay.
Hold on, I'm making.
My cousin.
Okay. Is somebody who has access to a bigger version of this thing willing to read rather than I, because I'm on my iPhone?
I'm on my iPhone too.
Yeah.
You get wrong all down. Oh, yeah.
Oh. All right. Nobody's gonna volunteer. All right. I'll read it.
Sorry, Chair. One moment. I'm trying to get the page here. Okay. So the first tip is going to be about long lines. When you see a person with a mobility or vision disability using a walker, wheelchair, scooter, or cane, invite them to the front of the line. Next tip, drop-off location. Arrange for the drop-off location to be curb-free or have a ramp. Next tip, entrance to voting center. Pathway should be free of obstacles, at least 36 inches wide. Steps free, 0-degree threshold, and have someone available to open the door if the door cannot be automatically opened with a push button. Next tip, signage and orientation. Have easily readable signs for check-in, voting questions, and restrooms, as well as someone available to tell someone where to check in, voting and restrooms are, and to answer any other questions if asked. Escort the person to the desired location. Next tip, number and label the areas associated with the voting in person. By numbering and labeling the steps associated with voting in person, an individual will know what order to follow. Next tip, orientation to ballot. If requested, have someone available to share a sample ballot and indicate marking options. Next tip, demonstration of how to use a voting machine with and without accessible features. Have someone available to show how to use voting machines. Next tip, hard copies of ballots. If requested, give a voter a hard copy of the ballot he and she completed. It could be a screenshot on the person's smartphone. Next tip, general suggestion. Ask the person if they would like assistance and then how you may assist. Next tip, it relates to disability-specific suggestions. Hearing. If a person can't hear and has a smartphone, ask if they may be used to communicate or use a pad of paper and pen to communicate. Vision. Have someone available to guide the person to a desired spot. Ask how to assist in guiding the person. Mobility. Have available places to sit and to write. Spaces approaching and around voting machines should accommodate wheelchairs and scooters and provide privacy and allow a seated person to reach machine control. Understanding. Allow a person who wants it to have a person of his or her choice to assist them in using a voting machine. Handouts and wall posters. Have handouts that explain in plain English the meaning of ballot amendments. Have a handout that numbers the steps connected to the voting in person. Post a large version of this sequence on a wall. Have pictures, names, and party of candidates in handouts and posted on walls. Final suggestion. No assumptions. Don't assume anything. Ask an individual how you may help them before taking action related to the person. Ensuring independence and privacy. The keys to a successful voting experience are independence and privacy. How these will occur will be determined by the individual voter. Avoid physical barriers. Provide clear pathways that are at least 36 inches wide and places to turn around easily in a wheelchair or scooter. Have spaces for check-in that are standard table height and could allow a person to sit. Have sturdy tables with chairs where a person may read or write. Have chairs with arms that do not tip over easily. Have available clipboards and pens. Have good lighting. Have non-slip even flooring. Have all print material in audio form. Have floating volunteers who can secure paper when someone needs to write, give directions, or answer questions. That is the end of the document, Chair.
Thank you very much. So, anybody, I know, suggestion that Donald gave me by phone the other day was the idea of giving an option of drive-through voting. Is that possible at these voting centers,
No,
Anthony?
no,
That you would need to discuss with the voter service centers, the
Well,
county voter service centers.
I know. Could you ask them that? You know, like send them an email and say, guys, do you provide for you know, people to vote from a car? And all they have to do is say yes or no, and then we know what we're dealing with.
Chair,
Thank you.
Sakamoto here.
Okay.
There was brought up at the Honolulu county, they have where somebody can press a button. I don't know if it's going to be close to the curb and they'll come out with a ballot, but not electronic
Right,
ballot
but-
machine.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have one concern about the first item. You know, you talked about different people with different disabilities, cane and walker or whatever. Can you put
Yeah.
there for a guide dog? Because our people that use a guide dog, they didn't use a cane, they're blind. And when the dog is working with their vest on, it's not appropriate for you to say, hi, cute dog, and touch them. They're working, so they have to be educated not to interact with a working dog. It's
Okay.
working for the client. Yeah.
All right. Anthony, whose name and telephone number do you want me to put on this tip sheet?
When you mean whose name?
Well, if they, they want to call somebody, we gotta give them somebody to call if they have, like, for example, you would know what the hotline number would be. You'd know the name of county clerks. You'd probably have a list of where the service centers are. I just want to give a responsible party that somebody can call if they have additional questions after they read this.
Each county has their own service center. So I guess you would have the phone number for each county voter service center, if that's what
Sure.
you're asking.
Gashel here. So, Anthony, why don't you just use the 808-453, whatever it is, 886, the vote number. And then if the question has to do with a county service center, you can refer them to them. But you got to give one phone number, I think. And usually what you guys do is give them that one number, right?
We normally do, but I guess this document relates to assistance at a voter service center. So you would be providing this to voter service center workers or volunteers. So probably you would want the number to be the county election voter service centers.
I agree with Echo.
Not all questions are going to relate to the county, and you guys are perfectly able to answer, or should be able to answer accessibility needs questions. And those are the questions are more likely to be generic rather than at a particular voter service center. Now, undoubtedly, there will be questions about a particular voter service center, and you're able to sort that out and refer them to the county when needed. That's my thought. I mean, unless you want to give them a list of all county phone numbers, I don't think you'll take up a side of the brochure if you do that. So I think your choice is one number or 4 numbers.
I agree with Echo.
I suppose you could, for Oahu, call City and County of Honolulu, and the phone number for Kauai call and you could run down a list of numbers like that. That'd be an option.
We could do that, but I guess it goes back to for this document,
Well,
who's
that,
the
well,
audience?
then list, I don't know, you know, you guys have to figure it out, but list all, what would it be? It'd be 4 counties, right? That'd be
But
it.
you have a hotline number for elections, and there's one hotline number. So maybe that's the number we should put down, and somebody could call it. I understand both of what Jim is saying and what Anthony is saying, and they're both valid, but this is partially a PR. I think if you put out any kind of public flyer that's supposed to help people and no number of any kind, you're creating negative PR.
So here, five phone numbers. The one you just mentioned, Madam Chair, plus for each county.
Okay.
And each county will have one. And I think that's a pretty good idea. I think that would get, they by this brochure, they'd be able to find whoever they need.
Yeah, one way or the other. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll do some more. I'll let you, when I finish, I'll let you add, I'll make space for you, Anthony, and you guys can add the numbers. I'm not gonna take my time to find the numbers. You can add those after I send the next draft to you. So that's good. Are there any more? And Donald, I'll add the thing about the service dog and about the drive-up voting option as
Now,
other things.
yeah, one other thing where you had about information available, you want posters and stuff like that. Posters don't do you any good if you're blind, but I notice you put in, when you have that information, have it also in audio form. I kind of think you ought to add Braille.
Okay, sure.
For that. Now you're not going to get the ballot in Braille, so you know, I don't know if you want to say anything about that. The machines don't provide Braille access to the ballot.
Right. I'll do that. I'm concerned about keeping this thing to, be
Yeah,
3 columns per side, but I'll work on it and see if I can do it.
yeah,
And I think the sooner we can get this out to workers at service centers, the better.
yep,
Sure.
And electronically too, to
Yeah.
the clerks, so they can make copies and get it out to people.
Chair.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Sakwa, my next Honolulu County meeting will be on June 14th. That's a Friday. Would love to have the pamphlet already done and presented at our next county meeting for Honolulu. So that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I see no reason why that couldn't happen. Especially if I turn it around this week and get it to
Yeah.
Anthony. And the thing is, you might have to print it out yourself. And I don't know what would happen if you tried to make it a Braille version or not, Donald, but you can mess around with it and see.
Oh yeah,
Well,
the library can, Donald, the library can help you do that if you ask them.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the sooner we get this out, get people talking about it, then we're educating people, changing attitudes, and making a difference. So I think this is really good. All right. Are there any more comments?
Nope.
Oh.
No additional hands raised, Chair.
Okay. Let's see. Now the next one is a discussion about transportation assistance for voters with accessibility needs. I've gone over this in my head 6,000 ways. Know that Uber, Lyft, liability issues connected to this. You also have a monetary issue because we didn't get any appropriation set aside for our committee, but here's what we should do. There's going to be some people, not many, but that will not vote in time and will have to go to vote at the last minute. So we put out some type of notice 10 days before the election, the election, saying anyone who needs a ride to a voting place, a voting center, that the Office of Election is willing to give $15 toward that cost. And then you guys figure out how you're going to make it work. It could be voucher. It could be, let the various organizations know that this is what we're going to do.
Gonna see a pattern, right?
They turn, if a person gives them a $15 voucher plus the difference, whatever they need, the person giving the voucher would then submit it to the Office of Election and get paid.
And then
What do you,
very high tech AV.
and Anthony, I'm asking you that question.
So you, I mean, other AV, but this is more like advanced, you said. It will make noise.
First of all, there's a hand raised, and
Okay, well,
that's
you
Donald Sakamoto.
okay, but answer my question first. If we did what I just described, could you guys do that?
Using thing, and then here's the blood, and then there's gonna be another. I forget what she said, they're gonna put up here. So that's our new station. So here's that lens squad, they all kind of.
Question.
Yeah. So it looks like free, yeah.
I'm thinking this one on my address.
That's right.
Ken,
Yeah.
and you mute everybody but Donald Sakamoto right now. Donald. Donald. God.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to elaborate. If anybody contacted Catholic Charities and Bill Evans from Charlie's Taxi, I gave the information, but to you folks, if there was a ways of doing.
No, I didn't do it. Anthony, can you contact Catholic Charities and
Peter Grace, Bill
Charlie,
Evans.
Charlie's Taxi and see if they'd be willing to just take a voucher and then submit it to you guys to get reimbursed?
Hi, Chair. We're trying to figure out what you're wanting, but what we understand is
Okay.
a voucher, but there's might be a lot of restrictions in terms of providing a financial incentive and associating that with voting and transportation, and that's what that we're not aware of.
So what are you saying? We're not going to try and work this out, or are you going to talk to your legal department about how we can do it?
We can talk to our legal and see how this can possibly be addressed.
Okay, and try to ask them to, think in out of the box ways, that and not be, too narrow in their thinking. I'm thinking that, it's not going to be that many people. And it has to be something that happens in the last 10 days or so. So I don't think we're talking about $20,000. I think we're talking more like maybe $2,500 total. So, you know, they could put limits on how much money would be available and a deadline for when you can ask for a voucher and how you can go about getting it. You could number the vouchers so that, you know, after a certain number have been given to people or emailed to people, that would be the end of it. So, you know, I don't think we're talking about rampant fraud here. And $15 is not that much, but it's something.
We're taking notes and yeah.
I mean, you can put all kinds of limits on it you want to make it more controllable. And I think that it'd be very progressive. And we could, if you figure out a way to do it, we can share it with other states and get you credit. So, because I'm going to send the final version of our pamphlet to the National Disability Rights Network so that they can get this out to every state. So other people might decide to do the same thing about assisting voters with disabilities. Okay, one of the items that was on, let's see, where is that list? Oh, the hotline. I want to have a brainstorming conversation about what kinds of questions. Anthony has said at our last meeting that there is already a hotline. So all we have to do is add some accessibility related questions that might come up to the hotline Q&As. So I'd like to brainstorm with you all about what those would be. You know, accessibility specific questions. So Jim, do you have any ones that you can put out there?
Well, you know, you're okay, so I can envision that there will be a number of questions around using the electronic ballot. And you know, it'll be I'm not sure I could specify all the questions, but I think the hotline people would have to be knowledgeable about the different steps involved in receiving and casting an electronic alternate format ballot.
Okay. Would you be willing to work with somebody at Office of Elections?
Oh,
to-
yeah. Oh, absolutely, I will.
Okay.
No
So,
question
right.
about that. I
Right.
think we need an instruction document on that.
Okay, that'd be good. Anand, do you have any suggestions about accessibility related questions that would be added to the hotline question list? That's a telephone number somebody could call if they had some question connected to elections and they already have it. And all we want to do is add questions that are important to us to that list. Is Anand still with us? He's not, I don't have his picture, so I'm wondering if he's still with us. He may have left. Okay,
Well, if he's left, then do we have a quorum?
let me see.
Let's find out if he's on. If he's left, we have
I
to
think he might still be there. Let me take a look.
maybe just muted, which we'd be okay, but we gotta check that before we proceed, I think. We had this issue, you know, at the last meeting, and so.
Ramona, can you please unmute your microphone, please? We do have quorum. His video is still on, except he's having technical difficulty unmuting himself presently.
Okay, Donald, do you have any suggestions for questions that we could add to the hotline Q&As? Okay, there's a hand raised now. Donald, Donald, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was trying to get the unmute thing. Yeah. No, Chair, I think whatever you folks do, I think the electronic would be a big factor because that's a tricky technology thing. So that'll be very informative. I don't know what else to say. 'Cause
Okay.
One other thought here, Donald, is if I'm blind, where to sign the outside of the return envelope.
Right, for the 2 dots,
Well, I don't know what it is. I don't know the answer to the question, but the hotline needs to be prepared to tell me where am I supposed to sign? How can I find the place to sign this envelope?
Okay. Yeah, Honolulu Kirk did talk about it at our meeting, so, but I don't know about the other islands, yeah.
I don't either.
Yeah, they said, Rex talked about the 2 dots and you align your signature card on each of those dots in the back.
Well, I think he talked about holes punched, but I don't know if it's the same across all counties. It may
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Unless Anthony, you know.
Yeah, but we don't have to answer the question right now. She's looking for questions that might come up that the hotline needs to know the answer to. And so the point here is the hotline needs to know the answer to this question for each of the counties. Now, it might be the same for everybody. That's fine. But I guarantee you somebody's going to call with that question.
Oh, I know. Another one too is they're gonna call and they'll say, is there a curb cut at what service center do I go to? And they tell them and they say, do you have a curb cut or a ramp? Or, you know, is there a Mac door opener? Or, you know, they're gonna
You was on mute?
Yeah.
oh, he's
Okay.
back.
You're on mute.
Hey,
Mondo, great.
hey guys, how are you?
I'm fine. Okay.
Another thing is, how can you track your ballot? I think that's mentioned. I don't know, but that's a good question to ask. How you can track your ballot.
That
Yeah.
will be that will definitely be a question that will be asked, and they'll need to tell them how to do that, and they'll need to know enough information about how you can do this with a screen reader. Not that you point and click at a certain point on the web page, but what to look for using a screen reader.
Okay. Well,
And it's enough to tell them that they'll know how to do that.
okay, but the point is, on those things, you guys have got to tell, you got to help Office of Election develop the answers to
Yeah.
those. You know, I have no clue. You know, I'm blind when it comes to that.
Yeah, I know. I think Anthony knows. I think Nettleton knows the answer to that question. But we'll definitely help him. No question about that.
Okay, so I will start a list of questions. I'm not talking about 100. I'm talking maximum 5 to 10 that might come up. If I have an answer in my head, I'll write it in. For the ones that you guys have raised, I will them to refer to you if they don't have the answer.
Yeah, we'll give you, but I know the ones we've talked about will come up at some point.
Now let's see. So I think we've covered over the last few meetings, we've covered the things that we wanted to deal with between now and the elections, but now we have to make them happen. So, the transportation voucher idea, the questions for the hotline, and the flyer. Do we want a flyer with, and you also raised the idea of making YouTube video. Okay, so maybe that's what we can talk about more next time.
Yeah, we could. On that subject, I don't know if I can fit this one in, but so I got my my card the other day that tells me I don't know what it says yet. I will look at it, but it's the card that all voters get. And I guess you can make changes when you get that card. So I thought when I got that, okay, I should also get, if I'm registered to receive an email ballot, I should also get an email. Now, I don't know if that's a city and county issue. It may be, but I'd like to know from Office of Elections how we take that up. Because if we're registered to get an electronic ballot, we should get an email confirmation in advance, just like we get this this card, which I guess goes out from city and county. So the email maybe also has to go out from city and county. I don't know, but I'd like to know.
Can you?
Yeah, that card actually gets generated by the city and county.
Okay. Can you an electronic notification to those?
Ramona says goodbye. He has to take the handy badge. Why?
Okay.
Oh,
Ramona right there.
We're gonna lose our quorum.
All right.
Maybe somebody better tell them that.
What was that?
so we're about to lose quorum if that's the case, just to let you know. Unless Cheryl's here. Do you see Cheryl?
He said he knows. Are you
Yeah.
okay with that?
Well, we'll have to end the meeting. That'll be the problem.
Yeah, we have to end the meeting. So maybe we should end the meeting. Does anybody have anything else they want to say? So Armando can get his ride. But thank you for coming, Armando. It's really important that we get every things. So I hope you can make the next one.
Ramona. Okay, Ramona, tell them bye.
Bye. Okay, this meeting is hereby adjourned, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.